Next up, we're going to have a look at the filter, which is located in the middle here. So the filter is a very important part of any subtractive synth. As I said before, we start off with harmonically rich waveforms in the form of the oscillators, or generated by the oscillators and the noise generator. We can sculpt those using the character module, but then the filter allows us to actually remove frequencies to kind of end up at the kind of tone that we want. So it's a very important part of any subtractive synthesizer because we're subtracting away frequencies, and that's the job of the filter. So it's quite a versatile filter, lots of different filter shapes to work with. So we change the mode of the filter using these buttons up here. First of all, we have a 24 dB ladder filter. We then have a 24 dB 0 setting, which models kind of analog filters. So slightly different tone. We've got a 12 dB ladder filter. This is going to be comparatively brighter because it's actually allowing more frequencies through because it's got a more gradual slope. And then we have next up a band pass 12 dB ladder filter. This allows a band of frequencies to pass through, attenuating either side, as you can see there. And then finally we have a kind of high pass, which attenuates lower frequencies. And that's a 12 dB setting there as well. Now, the cutoff is the most important setting on any filter. That's the one that actually sets the point at which we're cutting away the frequencies. So what we're saying, if we're in low pass mode, for example, is that anything, in this case, above 726 Hertz is going to be attenuated, and anything below that is going to be allowed to continue through. So depending on what setting we have, that's going to change. So for example, on a high pass now, 590 and above is going to be okay, and then below that is going to be attenuated. So it depends on the setting. So next up we have a drive control here, which is going to drive level in. So it allows you to basically overdrive the filter. This will add saturation and kind of fullness to the sound. Now notice this is kind of affected with the resonance as well, because the resonance, as we're going to talk about, creates a kind of boost around the cutoff point, which creates a peak in the signal essentially, and the drive can help soften that up a little bit. So it's kind of more spiky, and that's kind of more full. So really juicy sounding. Now the next control we have is a punch control, which allows you to add a range of kind of percussive attack to the start of each note. Which you can hear there. So a bit softer, a bit more punchy, a bit more woody sounding almost. So it allows the sound to kind of push through in the mix a little bit more if that's what you're going for. The next up we have resonance. So this allows the filter to resonate essentially, and this is important for creating a kind of wider range of sounds. If you think about sounds in our environment, and acoustic instruments, they generally have, resonant characteristics, like a guitar has the wooden body which resonates, etc. So resonance allows you to kind of fine tune the sound to have different points of the frequency spectrum that resonate, and you set the point at which it's going to resonate using the cutoff, and then the resonance control is going to create a boost around that cutoff point. Take the punch down again. So you can hear those resonant frequencies because the frequencies are mathematically linked to the fundamental, which gives us the kind of overtones and the timbre of the sound. Resonance, as we move the cutoff dial, is just picking up those kind of harmonious intervals. So it makes quite a big difference. Now we have a soft control here as well, and this allows us to try out different analog modeled kind of processing circuits, which gives us a bit of a soft saturation. We can take that off if we want things to be a little bit more aggressive. Just slightly softens things. Now the next control we have here is velocity, and that's going to determine the amount at which the filter is affected by velocity. So let's turn it all the way up. Now you can hear that as I change the velocity, you can really hear the tone of the filter changing because we've got high resonance, and basically the velocity is causing the cutoff to move around. That can be positive, so harder or faster we hit the note, the more bright the filter is, or it could be the other way around. If I play soft, it's brighter. If I play hard, it's darker. It just depends on what you're going for. And then we have the key control here, which sets the relationship between the pitch that we play on the MIDI keyboard and the filter cutoff. Because essentially, if we're going to play notes which are higher up, if we have the filter cutoff set quite low, then actually we'll start to play notes that are above the cutoff point. Whereas the key control allows you to change the filter cutoff as you play higher up the keyboard, which means you won't see it opening, but the filter will open as you play higher up, which means all the sounds or all the keys will be audible. So with this, if it's set all the way to the left, there's going to be no change with the MIDI keyboard, and opening the filter all the way to the right is going to be opening. So in this case, all the way to the left, there's going to be no linking between the MIDI keyboard's pitch and the filter cutoff, whereas all the way to the right, they're going to be very closely related. And that is the filter section. So in this video, we covered the filter. We know the filter cutoff sets the point at which we're going to be cutting away frequencies, and that can be set up as being a 24 dB low pass or a 24 dB low pass, which is like an analog filter type. We have a 12 dB low pass, we have a band pass, and we have a high pass here. Soft saturation to kind of just drive in a little bit of analog fatness. Drive, which is going to be again to further overdrive the filter. Punch is going to give us an aggressive kind of a tap. Resonance resonates the cutoff point. Velocity ties the relationship between velocity of the MIDI keyboard to the filter cutoff, and likewise key allows us to tie the pitch to the filter cutoff as well. And that is the filter. So now we've covered the filter. In the next video, we're going to have a look at our two LFOs. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.